How we doing? How you doing? Warm? What's going on here?
We're having a sit-in. We're having a sacred fire for Chief Spence.
The Prime Minister said she's going to meet.
Yes.
And is that good news or bad news?
That's good news, but we're keeping the fire until that happens.
Who do you represent?
I'm a blogger.
Blogger?
You know what a blogger is?
Oh yeah.
I'm the biggest blogger in New Brunswick.
Biggest mouth.
I'm also the biggest bullshitter you ever met in your life.
The most popular one in Fredericton?
Yeah. I'm the one that's popular with the cops.
This one I got charged, Naga.
Depends on who he's blogging.
What's your name?
Charles.
LeBlanc.
LeBlanc. I was asking Ron earlier, what's the history behind the natives end up in Kingsclear here?
We were established by the missionaries back in 1717.
Was it?
Yeah. And it was one of the closest religions to what we felt. So that's why they kind of went towards the missionaries, eh? Because they were a lot closer to what we believed in.
Back in those days, around 1700s, there was always a native village here. But as years went on, the missionaries finally arrived. And they took control of the native people. They started imposing their beliefs about religion to the native people, and finally it became such that the native people adopted their beliefs. They were saying that what we used to believe in as religious, they twisted it around and made it their belief that it was evil. So a lot of these old sayings that we had about religious beliefs, we adopted over a number of years, that their beliefs superseded what we believed in. And it became such that our beliefs became distorted as a result from our original beliefs. But we never had any such thing as believing in a higher spirit, namely God. We believed in the Creator. God, as our society knows him today, is Jesus Christ. But there was a higher power that we believed in. And not saying that it's wrong, but it's quite different from what we believed in as Native people back over the centuries.
And St. Mary's came from here, right? They didn't use the area of St. Mary's as a campground?
No, there was a village there as well.
Armacto First Nation.
Armacto, there was a village down there, native village. St. Mary's had a native village. Kingsclear had a native village. And upriver, Meduktik, where the Malsea Trail is now, there was a native village there as well. Woodstock, Tobic, Edmundston. Those were all native encampments all along the river, and further down river past Armacto into St. John, Wellsford, Browns Flats, Grand Lake. Those were all territories that the natives utilized for hunting, fishing, gathering, medicines, and whatever.
So what do you think is going to happen after Stephen Harper meets with the chief?
That remains a mystery. I hope he'll change his mind and have a heart. But it seems right now that the impression that I get is he's not very...
we feel he's showing disrespect.
Pretty much.
He's showing disrespect to a mother. You don't show disrespect to anybody's mother. That's the way I feel.
Especially
how would you feel if your mother was being disrespected on what beliefs that she feels?
Especially what's going to happen. Especially what's going to happen in northern British Columbia with the pipeline going through.
That's just a small tip of what's happening. There are things we don't see. These politicians talk amongst themselves. Are we ever invited to listen on some of those topics? No. They're making choices on our behalf when they don't have a right to speak for us. We have our own voice.
You shouldn't have to say it.
And we should be sitting at just as high as level as any government on this land.
Oh, thanks.
whether it's America or Canada even. You know, our treaties have no border. We're being harassed. I go over Maine at least once or twice a week to pick up medicine for my mother-in-law, and I get harassed almost every time I'm going through there. Even though I go through 2 or 3 times a week, 100 times a year, I still get harassed. I was even strip searched at one time. Right down to my, well, you asked Peter Solomon, he was with me. I had to take off all my clothes. But you know what? I couldn't risk the chance of not being able to get back into there to get that medicine. And I still have to go and get medicine periodically still.
Anybody else? Any last words?
I believe if we could start respecting one another, this be a lot better world. Nobody is respecting each other here. Not even overseas or down the States. Nobody's respecting one another. And that's where life begins, is with respect and love. Love is one of the greatest energies in the whole world, in the whole universe. Love.
That's so well said. I think we'll leave it at that.
It travels through anything.
Well, there was an incident here just recently in Venezuela.
Forms.
Is that Venezuela?
And if you
where these native people were forced from their
to feel that love every now and then,
tribal lands, and this mining company went there from Ontario.
Yeah.
That was Venezuela. This mining company from Ontario
And when I get rolling and
went into Venezuela,
I can't seem to stop sometimes.
set up a mining operation.
That's a circle.
And
Sorry.
You know what, last night
they set up a mining operation, and they drove all the native people from their village. They drove them out with firearms and the army, the local army in Venezuela.
Bringing some positive
And
energy.
this was
And I just happened
on
to be
the
sitting
orders
in
from the mining company from Ontario.
I didn't even realize.
They were allowed to go over there,
When they brought notice
drive the
that I
people
was
from
in
their
the bill,
village so they could set up a mining
really, I didn't
operation.
wanna-
Apparently some kind of
I
a
didn't want to put any
mineral
bad
was
vibes
discovered on their
in this
land.
Yeah.
And
Without realizing
they
I
had to
was
leave
sitting in the middle of the
I know.
forcefully.
We were all just sitting,
Hopefully that'll be all done here.
wondering if
Won't happen here.
anybody was going to show
Well,
up. And I
it's
said,
just a matter of time, I believe.
Don't worry about it. Just worry about you for yourself.